Little River Railroad offers special steam excursion trips from Coldwater to Quincy and oftentimes from Coldwater to Hillsdale. They can often be found online or on their brochure. In this video, we'll be taking a ride on the 2 o'clock Father's Day steam excursion from Coldwater to Quincy. While planning the trip, the thought of getting to ride the steam excursion did cross my mind, but I couldn't be sure if it would be possible to do so. But lucky for me, I was able to get a ticket at the ticket office for the ride. Now I've been to 2 steam excursions and gotten to ride one of them. The Father's Day steam excursion happens to be this one. We'll be riding the steam excursion from Coldwater to Quincy, then turn around and head back to Coldwater. While the drive is only 18 minutes to and from Quincy, it's an easy 45 minutes by steam excursion. It's a little past 1:30 p.m. and passenger boarding has begun as we boarded the stock car. Off to my left are some passengers getting their photo taken with the conductor. Today happens to be someone's birthday, and it must have been nice of the conductor to let the family get a picture of the birthday kid with him in it. Also, some of the passengers we're seeing came up from Florida, which happens to be former seaboard coastline territory. My grandpa happens to be coming up from Florida because of the extreme heat down there.
This is awesome.
Hey, Terry, we came all the way from Florida to ride your train.
From where?
Florida. Florida.
It's not raining up here.
It's now 2:05 p.m. and the conductor has given the signal to engine 110 to proceed to Quincy. Pulling out, we can see a lot more rail fans getting a look at engine number 110. During the 11 o'clock trip, there weren't as many rail fans following the train as there are now. This was because they were most likely at church, seeing that today is Sunday. With rail fans and steam enthusiasts passing by and our ticket punched, we are now officially on our way to Quincy. Goodbye, Coldwater. Let's roam about the train and take a look at the train cars. The first car we're walking through is car number 2594, a 1995 heavyweight combination car. It was built by the Pullman Company for the Chicago and Alton Railroad, which was then sold to a private owner until being acquired by the LRR in 1978. Why it was called the heavyweight combination was because of the concrete underneath us and the two three-wheel trucks underneath us that support it. This gave it a better ride for passengers as a result. Also, it serves as a passenger and a baggage car. So this is technically all one car.
Oh, you're right.
Wow, yeah.
Our next coach we're in now is coach number 633. It was built originally for the Milwaukee Road's high-speed passenger trains in 1947 with speeds of up to almost 100 miles per hour. On a side note, some of the passengers wanted to get in on the camera. Coach 633 was later sold to Amtrak and it later came to the LRR in the late 1970s. It had a bathroom if anyone needed to go while we're moving, and I was amazed to see where it was. This is kind of a panoramic view of the room I'm standing in, and of course, where the bathroom is. We came to the end of the train as we see three cabooses which were inaccessible at this point. We're now in modified stock cars as we make our way to the front of the train. They once hauled livestock around at one point until the LRR got a hold of them and modified them to haul passengers instead. We'll be in them for the return trip to Coldwater. As we exit the stock cars, we made our way to Troop Sleeper number 5205. Also built by the Pullman Company, it hauled military troops as a sleeper car during World War II. The LRR acquired it sometime in the 1970s and converted it to either a dining car or an observation car, or a combination of both. We now come to coach number 603, yet another car from the Milwaukee Road's high-speed passenger trains built in 1947.
Now the crossing is too long.
We've reached Lock Road as we can see rail fans and steam enthusiasts getting some camera shots in. We'll be seeing them again at the US 12 crossing. The coach at the head of the train we're in is the Solomon Lounge and Observation Car, built in 1908 by the Barney and Smith Car Company in Dayton, Ohio. It has seen a lot of action in its day. Cars like this were mainly used for railroad officials, dignitaries, and wealthy individuals. Sounds almost like the Frank Thompson private car I saw when I was in Owasso in 2023 for the Polar Express team excursion to Ashley. A car like this has 7 configurations, but I don't have time to list them all. It was since sold to a private owner, and it's on a long-term lease to the LRR. So we might not get to see it again in the future. During my recording, the conductor talked about how the NYC beautified the landscape with flowers and conifers. I didn't get a chance to see them as I was recording on the way to Quincy. We're back in the stock car as we approach the US 12 crossing and Quincy. Listen to the clickety-clack as we see the rail fans and steam enthusiasts again. Now arrived at Quincy as we come to the turning point of the journey. We'll be getting off the train as the train men work to turn the train around.
coming down. Yeah, it's a big step. Watch your step. Hello.
Run him forward a little bit, and he'll back up. You'll flip the trap.
Hello.
And then he'll go all the way back. So he's going to run all the way. Yes. Henders first, backwards.
During the 11 o'clock trip, the sun was positioned just right to shine on the front of the engine. This is the 2 o'clock p.m. excursion. A few minutes later, it was time for us to depart back to Coldwater as I made my way back to the stock car.
Nope, nope. Izzy. We're gonna go.
As engine 110 gave the 3 toots, the conductor came on the PA.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now beginning our return trip to the Coldwater Depot. In recognition of
In commemoration of Father's Day, a song was played over the PA system, Utah Phillips, Daddy Wants a Train. Note the sound of the train's whistle while we went through Quincy.
Daddy wants a train. When I was a boy, living by the track, a hole in a big old gunny sack. Then we heard the warning sound. The engineers right away, he went Daddy was a train, up the night ride.
Going through the US 12 crossing, a waiting truck driver honked its horn as we rolled by. I'm sure glad I got that shot, because I would be disappointed if I didn't. Either that, or maybe he saw me recording and honked the truck's horn so I get that shot. Rolling back to Coldwater, I get a shot of the passing scenery. Now note the sound of the train's whistle as we rolled through the countryside. We see an old loading platform, no longer in use, and the track is abandoned. Passing by heading from and back to Coldwater, we passed an apartment complex not too far from the tracks. At times, the residents are treated to the smell of choking smoke and the symphony of a steam whistle. We now pass by what looks to be a race car with the name JJ Custom on the side. Looks like some kids may have seen me and wanted to get on camera. We're now back at Coldwater as we pull into the depot. It took a while to pull in so that they could clear the crossing.
I remember this car and the little tank in it. 4, 5, 6. I remember those tanks.
Thank you for riding with us today. Watch your step.
As we disembark our train, this marks the end of my day in Coldwater and Quincy. Before we go, I like to take some time to explain about my channel name. It's been about 3/4 of the years since I started this channel, and I thought I would take some time to tell you about the origins of it. Whenever I'm at home, at work, etc., I go by my real name. But whenever I'm out on the high iron, the Great Lakes Railroader is the name I go by. Kind of a mouthful, but hey, if I'm going to be a rail fan, I might as well have a trademark name. Originally, I thought of going by the American Rail Fan, or the American Railroader. I don't exactly remember what name I thought of originally, but that name was already taken. So I had to think of a name that hadn't been taken, for me and my channel. That's when the Great Lakes Railroader came to mind. Now, here's where I'm going to get a little conceptual here. When figuring out the name, I thought about how I'm from the Great Lakes region of the US, hence the first part of the name, Great Lakes. Also originally, I once lived near a rail line that's not only former Pierre Marquette, but former Chesapeake and Ohio, and former Chessie System Railroad. Today, it's part of CSX's Chicago division that runs through Michigan. I have been drawn to trains when I was young, and I'm now not only drawn to trains, but to the history of the railroad and the present railroad itself. hence the second part of the name, railroader. In short, the name Great Lakes Railroader means born in the Great Lakes region and knows about railroad history. That's it for me. So for now, at the Little River Railroad Depot in Coldwater on the Indiana Northeastern Railroad, this is the Great Lakes Railroader. Out.